Do Black Dragons even risk leaving her up at this point?
I'd hope not. Because even when they had Solus to use as well, I feel like the effectivity of Black Dragons on the Solus was not the same. Already having a slightly different operator ban phase, as Thatcher will be removed by Black Dragons. I guess that makes a bit of sense. There's a lot of ranged hard breach you can get done, so having a Thatcher to assist that could be really impactful. But in terms of general wall denial, it's not as common on this map compared to other ones, for example, like Chalet, which is where we just went to. And an interesting ban by FaZe Clan removing the Nook, which is something they brought out a fair amount of times, but she is pretty good on this map considering how large it is and how many isolated one-for-ones you can take on that initial roam.
Yeah, and being able to like entry through that basement.
Exactly.
Where there's, what, one cam, and it is like the most avoidable cam in the game.
Just don't go bottom red.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Don't go anywhere near red stairs in the basement.
Azami, the following ban from FaZe Clan, and Valkyrie from BD. You've left Solus up. They've also left Cade up with a Thatcher ban, who can be quite a challenge to deal with on Villa. It pretty much forces bottom-up clears, or opposite side clears. FaZe, I guess they if they want to go bottom-up, I guess they have the Ashe who can do that. But they're not playing, Black Dragons are not playing either. I mean, they have Mira, but no Cade or Solus.
Based on this lineup as well, obviously there's still plenty of time for FaZe Clan to change once they figure out, where Black Dragons are going and what their site setup looks like. They could just get aggressive from Study side with the help of Vidiking on Blitz. You typically tend to see him playing by Study balcony, then he just kind of barges in through Study and tries to kill the guy who has a shield placed up above. And that has eventually changed. So it looks like FaZe Clan could maybe be going for more of a bottom top tier like you were referencing, Harrison, because they have a lot of grenades and info gathering operators. I mean, 3 separate intel ops, no 4, because you got Handy on 0. That mix with Dokkaebi, Iana, and Line. You have a lot of opportunities to gather info and then mix them with grenades. So that idea could really work well against Black Dragon's more bunker-focused composition. But so far, it doesn't seem like anyone's beginning to clear out from that first floor just yet, but KDS could obviously enter in from lobby in just a few short moments.
Why do you put 2 there?
Maybe to try to penetrate each wall?
No, they're both on the same wall. I think. Oh, no. I think they are on different walls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one's looking into AB side and one's looking into bar. Okay, so that was
cool. Yeah, FaZe Clan saw that Black Dragons weren't bringing a Solus, and we're like, guys, let's do it.
Yeah, they are going below 2 with the nades.
Let's bring 4 people counterable by Solus. Because, I mean, she's not there. You're right, they do have the nades. Cyber's already used 1. Already, the drone economy is better, too. Only lost 2 drones so far and have completely isolated this bottom floor for themselves. Or rather, I'm going to keep doing that. Not bottom floor, but the first floor. Another nade coming up from KDS, though it will miss. The info fed to him a little bit stale. The drone from Cyber, unable to go up red to gather more, so looks like he's going to blind nade. But KDS finds the first pick on the Basetto, who I think was main stairs. And because there's no ADSs being played, I mean, he's just a sitting duck.
I got Batoxy playing by main. The Goyo Vulcan pack has been popped as well, so a little more breathing room for him, burning up about 20 seconds or so, as the rest of FaZe Clan are beginning to start a new take. They're working their way all the way from the Astro side of the map and also Master to maybe go for a default plant by that vault doorway that's hinged back, and having someone by Study, no one can push into that position, so the only spot they'd have to clear out is top red and 90, and with no one 90, it is only the red player.
The Gumine being shot out is going to put pressure on this Legion, and Stemp just cannot win the fight. Too many bodies to worry about. Soul's a follow-up onto Live, and Patoxy's attempting to push out 90. Will be unable to get the first pick onto the Iana. Eventually, he does on a KDS. There's a flank coming through from Ion as well, but the plant, in the meantime, is going down because FaZe have continued to push front side as well. Here comes Ion, unable to get the kill as the Goyo canister blows up in his face, leaving Patoxy in a 1 versus 4 with only one low HP member of FaZe, and Vita King puts a stop to that. What a play from FaZe! Isolating the guy main stairs, fragging him out, switching to an Astro Master overtake, and almost baiting the defense to defend against it while they still take case front side.
And it was only after they had put enough pressure into red stairs and 90 to where they then begin to push in through study even deeper. It's not just a cutoff angle you're holding so your teammates can get in the bomb site and plant. It's also a new front of the attack. So you have both your skull players and maybe someone pushing in through 90 once they eventually get rid of the Wamai. You have that mixed with people actively hammering down on you from study and main stairs. That was a really well coordinated attack by FaZe Clan, and they had the ball rolling from the get-go just off of that first opening kill. They had main stairs control so early in that round, it kind of allowed them to take more of their time in the mid-round, so they could then rotate to Astro and then again put down all that pressure by red stairs in 90 and then also push them through study. That was just a very fluid round by FaZe Clan, and really at no moment did it seem like Black Dragons had an actual response to slow them down besides just the utility they had placed in the prep phase. Just those Vulcan packs were really being a deterrent for them, and that was it.
And that was one of the coolest attacks I've seen in at all. I was gonna say like in Brazil or in LATAM. That was just really cool.
All unique operators, and like everything just went according to plan. That was just it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome watching Siege where everything goes according to plan sometimes, because so rarely does that happen. Black Dragons don't want to defend AVG again. They don't want to have to deal with that. They're gonna go trophy, but they're already gonna lose Stemp as Souls on the rappel picks off the Wamai. No refrag in sight unless Ion can do something here from Art, but no one on the ground for him to shoot. And now Black Dragons are immediately starting to fall off their roam as Baseto dies on site. So the site players all gone. All you're left with is Live downstairs and Patoxy and Ion trying to rotate back in from AVG.
Well, the C4 will remove that drone, but not the player sitting on the window, so he can't walk up Astro Stair. He's probably has to rotate back to red, which is going to create a lot more space for FaZe Clan, to just enter the building, which they begin to do so by the bathroom side of the map. Live could theoretically play for vertical, but there is just no site presence beside Patoxy in this 5-on-2, so he's got to go back up above and just hope he can come back in time, but that's not going to be the case. There's KDS with 1 and Vita King to close it out. FaZe Clan, yet another flawless round as they're doing a phenomenal job against these defensive holds by Black Dragon.
Where the hell did KDS come from? He just
bore, I guess.
Yeah, he just materialized in bore and killed that guy.
Just slash TP.
Yeah, a timeout being taken as well from Black Dragons on round 3. I mean, FaZe's attacks, both rounds so far, were brilliant. I understand the mentality to take the timeout when you've only got 1 kill between 2 rounds, but do you really risk doing it this early? I mean, maybe it's just an attacker-sided Villa. FaZe only have 2 rounds. I would think wait until the next, but I mean, maybe it's something the coach is seeing. Maybe the players are just really starting to get demoralized. Wants to press that big red stop button, kind of get everyone focused back in on the game, get the mental up, and get into our 3rd round, which seems to be Dining Kitchen.
Yeah.
Cozinha.
Yeah, this line of wording just seems way too short for library. So that was my main guess as to why.
Oh,
the competition or the composition. That's the right. It also looks very tailored towards dining room because you have bowls, cap cans, a little smoke available too. Sure, these all work on library, but these are very common for dining. And also, a lot of teams just aren't major fans of library. It's very rarely picked out by any team. But FaZe Clan, are they going to stick with the Grim Harrison? No, okay. I was like, they don't have any range breach, so I doubt they would keep But that would have been cool. That would have been so funny. They see like there's a huge presence off the bomb site, and they just like grim like memo in China, so no one can retake. That would have been really cool if that actually worked.
Actually, kind of sad because I think they said right that they're reworking Grim or something.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm kind of sad though. I kind of like Grim being comically bad.
Like the most situational operator in the game.
Yeah, he's
like,
funny.
By far.
Because
like,
if they make him good, then Grim isn't gonna be funny anymore.
That's true. And who do you really have as like a funny operator? You know,
Hey, that's
like
what I'm saying.
The tacky like blitz rush, but that's still relatively viable depending on the comp. So yeah, that's a fair point to make.
That's what I'm saying. If you're listening, Ubisoft, sometimes it's okay for an operator to just be funny. We're not going to see Grim. We're going to see Lion and Dokkaebi. Though Solus is now being played from Ion, so perhaps one of these players could fall prey to him, but instead, KDS, the opening pick onto Basetto as he just jumps into jail. Stemp gets found from Handy, solo pushing by Piano, and now Live is dead. The smoke from the pantry push. FaZe collapsing in seemingly everywhere at once and winning every single fight. Now Handy is tasked with holding this flank, meaning there's only one Black Dragons player to deal with by the site, and now he's been dealt with. Sure, Ion gets his kill, but there is yet even more flank watch that he has to deal with. Namely the Dokkaebi, who gets kind of slapped around. That was a great shot from Ion. Still 3 more bodies, and that's where it's going to end. FaZe Clan, despite the timeout from BD, 3 very convincing attacks.
And no real adaptation that we've seen so far by Black Dragons. And the same problem has presented itself now 3 rounds in a row. They're just completely thrown off guard by what FaZe Clan is doing, and they don't react in time. So now FaZe Clan are up 1 to 2 bodies. They still have a minute 30, and everyone is just on the same wavelength of let's all just push in together into the bomb site and just play for numbers. They're just playing textbook Siege. And Black Dragons, with a lot of their main anchor operators like Basetto, who's been first entry death twice, and then the second person to die on round number 2, so just right behind the first player to die in his team. Him being one of the first 2 people to die almost every single round is really alarming because he's one of the most impactful defenders to have. That smoke can allow your teammates more time to rotate across the map, to be more proactive against what FaZe Clan are doing. It could stop and execute dead in its tracks if you're in the final 30 seconds and you have all those toxic babes built up. But we haven't seen any of that. Despite Black Dragons bringing out so much utility, none of it has stopped FaZe Clan, ever.
Especially the Solus has been really impactless. I think because Black Dragons haven't read into the fact that all of FaZe's info right now and their strength is coming in their direct site pushes. Like, that last round perfectly describes it, right? The hop into Memo, getting the first kill. The pantry kill. Handy getting a kill right outside the site. And meanwhile, Solus is across the map, not cutting down these drones. And now KDS is about to Amaru through Skull. The Goyo's... No, the Goyo's not ready for it! How does KDS get away with that onto Live? Cyber's in the middle of the site. So is Handy. They just breached through the soft wall, knowing that is completely clear. Again, the site info is what is hammering Black Dragons right now. And the Solus is nowhere to be seen. Now it's a 3v5 retake with Ion dead, making it a 2v5. Basetto spotted out on main, crushed by Cyber, and Stemp is the last one remaining. 1v5 post-plant. Again, everything perfectly according to plan from FaZe, because nothing that Black Dragons is doing is countering them. There's no adaptation.
Perfectly punished by FaZe Clan once again, upping the ante on the aggression. I've seen that skull attack a handful of times, and oddly enough, despite it being so like on the nose obvious, it almost always works because you really think for a second, okay, I hear the Gara hook, but where is it from? And I'm so shocked that KDS won that gunfight against Live. Not only that,
me too,
but having the Amaru still get in the bomb site and then having a Capital right behind, so you have it like smoke and fire bolted off. Yeah, I mean, I think the smoke just instantly appeared in front of Live, and he's like, "Where'd he go? Where'd the Amaru just go from?"
Yeah,
and
I think that
couldn't
smoke
shots.
was perfectly timed.
So kind of unlucky for Live the more we think about it, and luckily having our replay op display that for us. So thanks for that, Alex. But yeah, not
great.
the lack of anticipation by Black Dragons. I mean, again, it's perplexing, and their lineup didn't change a whole lot to help assist their roam extension, and again, be a reactive team against what FaZe Clan are doing. And with them probably realizing that, it's why they wanted to be so aggressive.
I'm also worrying now with this Oryx pick. So I like the Frost to try and put a damper on that really aggressive direct site play. But Solus is once again across the map, and call me crazy, but I don't think Oryx is anchoring. So
no, it doesn't
if
seem like
FaZe
that.
do the same thing, I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
I'd really hope not. Solo casting is yeah, it's gonna be a whole hullabaloo in this broadcasting booth. So far, FaZe Clan are not being the aggressor just yet, but they're setting up for it, that's for sure. They've got KDS, who for a moment looked like he was going to try to go through the window. Maybe not immediately hop in, but be prepared for that in the late round, kind of like what we saw last time Trophy was in play. But the rest of FaZe Clan are still on their Master Direct pick. I think they had someone over by the Astro, but that might have changed now. And Stemp actually wins the first gunfight. So a big sigh of relief for Black Dragons, as this direct take attempt by FaZe Clan has been thwarted for the most part, but Stemp might be overstaying his welcome.
Dancing between the windows, dealing some damage to the Flores. Eventually he gets cut down, but not before Vita Kings hits the floor and Souls trades back onto Live. So what was a great start for Black Dragons has been amended since by FaZe, for the most part. Though, BD still have Solus up. I hope she's come back to site. Yeah, all right. By Boar. Easy drop downstairs, too, once the execute comes to try and deny that plant. Things are looking good for BD.
Plenty of impacts as well for Ion, so yeah, really harping in on if there is no one underneath or no one aware of the Solus. Big impact, literally and figuratively, to stop that plant if it is attempted by FaZe Clan. So far, all bundled up between both master bedroom and bathroom. Initial charge leading in from Astro, but it's currently shut down by Basetto. Swings in for another one. He cleans it up with the 9mm, leaving just Souls now in a 1 versus 3. Probably zero chance of getting that diffuser down and trying to do God's work with this DMR.
Nobody from BD exposing themselves just yet. Toxie holding a nasty angle right behind the deer. Right over the deer. He shot him through the deer, even. Oh. And at long last, a round for BD. At first, it looked like they were going to fall for the same old traps. The opening kill from Stemp really enabled BD. Those roamers started to flood back to the site after they realized that for the 5th round in a row, FaZe are not going to worry about this extension. And look what happens when BD have all hands on deck.
And for FaZe Clan, no one tried to, I think the term is lineate from the original path. They weren't trying to move around, get alert going from Astro stairs to help assist that player by bathroom. There was no one going up red. It was just everyone inside of master, bathroom, and bedroom for the final couple moments of that round in a 3 versus 3. Whereas in comparison to when FaZe Clan has all hands on deck, they are very proactive about pushing in from several different directions. So Black Dragons just do not have to or cannot look down only 2 doorways and get away with running around because someone's holding that position like Basetto was to get that double kill as Frost. So with a lack of presence by FaZe Clan in terms of players being up, couldn't diversify, and that was also a huge benefactor for Black Dragons. But, I mean, it was still pretty close despite that, Harrison.
We've also got the Solus and the Oryx returning, now joined by a Capcan, and FaZe made a full lineup switch in the prep phase. Bringing a Buck, bringing that Dokkaebi again. The Zoe is new. The Ying makes a return from Vita King, who they played on their previous Aviator attack. By the way, Aviator, now its third play without a win, typically in violation of the mantra that we like to repeat. Wow! Holy! Cyber just got 180'd by Stem. That was crazy. And now this Capcan might be... What? KDS? Oh, he knew about the flank, so he'll be able to pick off Live. Though his teammate is dead across the map. That's Vita King. That's also Case now down.
And there's still someone roaming between landing and statue that, for a brief moment, I thought KDS could find him again, and he does the first one. Batoxy, still playing right behind that hard wall, just trying to waste as much time as he can, swings out to look for a gunfight, and there's another flank by 90! Basetto clearing out that position, leaving just FaZe Clan in a 2 versus 3, hoping to pick up the pieces. You've got Souls and Handy working together to clear out Asher. A well-timed stun will catch one off guard, it seems. Souls will work a 1-for-1 against him, and that leaves now only Souls. Diffuser recovered, but still 2 people on the aggression against him between both this landing position and I think either Trophy or Astro really boxing in Souls and maybe forcing him to rotate. That could be the better option here.
Especially with both these players off-site, still holding by Trophy. The site is AVG, may we remind you. The one round that FaZe have deviated from that site direct is the one round that are now really getting punished here on Aviator. Another gas canister goes out, 1 left in the pocket of Basetto, who is just holding this 90-degree angle with the shotgun. Something that Souls is going to be hard-pressed to try and get around. I'm just watching Basetto silhouette. I'm praying that he does not overpeak. The Solus also not peeking, but just exposed in the back. Souls is just going to start pushing. The goo mine's in his foot. He's so low. Basetto makes sure that Souls is not going to clutch this round. Souls just walking right through the gas and the Legion mine. Unfortunately, not much to do there.
Pretty bold play to go for, but can't really fault him for trying to be a little bit creative there. With that toxic wave going away, then you could probably put 2 and 2 together that the guy's going to try to swing you, so... Trying to change it up, not a bad idea, but there's several goo mines stuck in your feet, you're low in HP, and yeah, Basetto, he's got a shotgun for close quarters. Really tough position for FaZe Clan, and luckily Black Dragons did not throw away the opportunity of finding another round win in their first half. But now they move on the attack, which they struggled with a lot against FaZe Clan on Chalet, their own map pick. So now going on to Villa, where they're going to be tasked with probably, you know, completing a lot more mini games that FaZe Clan will be setting up, like having these extended roamers like the Solus and Ella, while also having a lot of site utility with those magnets, the mirror windows, and the smart glasses by Handy. It's tough to say if Black Dragons are going to have a better half than what we just saw, you know, those 6 rounds in total. And they don't have a timeout either. They spent that.
They did. Used all the way back in round 3. Luckily for them, you know, they were able to take a couple rounds on the defense, even though they didn't win the rounds immediately after their timeout. Yeah, FaZe Clan do using this Solus. Black Dragons, again, I have to say, I feel like the Solus was not terribly effective. It was effective in that last round with his gun. It didn't look like the utility really came into play all that much. But we'll see if FaZe can do them one better. The Solus peeking the laundry door. Out comes the SMG-11, or sorry, the SMG-12 for Live. Doesn't seem to know that Cyber is just around the corner. Here's the swing, and Live still wins it and gets the cams to boot.
Really impactful first gunfight for Live is, like you mentioned, having that info without even needing to sacrifice many of your Brava drones is a huge benefit for the offensive side of Black Dragons, and not having to worry about Cyber trying to flank in the late round is also a huge boon for them. A second defender now eliminated, as well as Ion will smoke Souls, allowing, I'd assume, a much faster clear for Black Dragons. They can just pinpoint where KDS is still roaming at and probably force him away. He's actually trying to initiate himself over by Statue, connects 1 kill on the Ion, and still trying to hold Astro and Statue for as long as he can.
He is only an Ella, so his life not too valuable as Stemp finally puts him in the dirt, leaving it all up to Vita King and Handy. Brava Drone coming in. I'm going to see if there's any utility she can hack. Of course, the Dokkaebi has already hacked the cams, so she'll be looking more for maybe Wamai discs, which could be smart. Those would stop the C4 from Vita King, I believe. You can hack potential Ela mines as well. Those would really be the only, I think the only two left. A Repel coming out. Handy was searching for it, trying to see if he could take someone off guard, but it'll come up empty. It's going to be live, tasked with holding down Study while the rest of his team pushes from the other side.
Just trying to wait as long as he can from the Study position. The shield is still up as well, so it could be a little bit easier to play here, Harrison, but 40 seconds to work with, and Black Dragon still having enough utility to spare in this final moment. It really does seem taxing for FaZe Clan with its disadvantage.
The flash is now coming into Handy's HP, getting lowered and now dead. It's all up to Vita King. Here comes the C4 over the vault, but it does not land. Seto gets that plant down. They're all starting to converge around him. He's full blind. He stands no chance against Stemp, and Black Dragons take round number 7, slowly now encroaching on a tie game.
Didn't seem like that would be the case, but Black Dragons, a pretty impressive roam clear, live winning that 50-50 gunfight, began to set the precedent for the rest of Black Dragons to begin to take control of that top floor. You had both Stemp. There's also, I believe, the Yana of Ion trying to push in from the master side of the map. And sure, Ela was able to bounce back and find one trade. It was immediately refrag. So a pretty successful 3-to-1 ratio clearing out those roamers from the east side of the map. That does give you a lot more space to put a bigger emphasis on positions like Study, which we saw by Black Dragons, which is really impactful when trying to go for a default plant by that vault doorway. So having both that control of, you know, the eastern side of the map from Master working into landing and Skull, but also having time to go rotate into Study and force back those players by 90 hallway, it gave enough clearance for Black Dragons to get into the bomb site and just play for the numbers while also getting that diffuser down.
I also love their choice to just, after getting the plant down, just running at the guy. Playing aggressively, knowing they could play bodies. Trophy Stat is our next site from FaZe. Still bringing Mira, who, of course, can be used to hold. You can put one on the main master wall. Sometimes that's what people do. Sometimes, I've even seen a Mira placed Astro, but more importantly, the Mira is also used to hold Aviator for that AVG roam. There's no way Handy is peeking Boar like that. He is. Oh, he's watching the Repel.
Really dancing with death, it seems. Even Kid Ace is getting aggressive by the 90 window, too. Gonna ramp up anything. Work an opening gunfight. And there's the default camp still up?
Yeah.
Are Black Dragons not shooting defaults? That's a bit awkward. Loads of info can be out there for FaZe Clan. That could even allow them to get aggressive by Study and maybe go for a swing onto someone master balcony with that default cam still up, but no one's that close to Study besides maybe the Mira. Oh, and someone's watching on the roof. They don't shoot the default cam, but they can watch the spawn. At least in general.
Maybe they're baiting it?
That would be like 10 billion IQ.
That'd be pretty funny.
I would
play from
maybe not as
Stem.
funny as Grim, but funny.
Could catch Cyber off guard, but the Soulless gets pinched from Ion. Very coordinated from Black Dragon. Cyber now the opening death 4 rounds in a row, but Handy has an immediate response, though Baseto jumps on in to claim him on Astro Stairs. 4 versus 3 for Black Dragons. Vita King rotating back to assist the Wamai on site as KDS stands firm in 90, making sure there's not going to be any sort of back push from the attack, but either way, Black Dragon's in a very, very comfortable advantage.
Still having plenty of wall reach as well. No, I've jinxed Baseto. That's their ace gone. How are they going to get rid of these mirror windows if they haven't been destroyed already? That's a huge pick for FaZe Clan. And there's no one lurking over by Red Stairs. There's someone by the Study side of the map, but they're going to have to give away their attentions by breaking open that barricade. Black Dragons have become very limited now because of that one kill onto Baseto.
I think I heard one mirror get opened. I think the site mirror is open.
It is a relief, but let's go play off of that board.
You certainly can. And Live is being held up on the study side. KDS is now looking to potentially flank through, but decides to hold 90 instead. Vita King is hiding behind the chair on the Astro desk. Womai swings out, but just narrowly misses out on Live. Vita King dying on Astro. These defenders need to get back to site, and with that kill, the opportunity has been opened. 2 versus 2, and the plant has to go down, leaving Stemp in a 1v2, but he claims the first. KDS looking for the trade. He nabs it, but Toxie's low, but the pistol comes out to win the fight, and Black Dragons score 4 in a row to tie the game.
And enough time being wasted by the Dokkaebi just holding down 2 defenders, and with the only anchor on site eliminated, that allowed Black Dragons to enter in the bomb site and get the plant down. A timeout being called finally by FaZe Clan after they've lost 4 rounds in a row against Black Dragons, if you're including the end of that first half. And it seems to be a pretty good time to do that, because a lot of these end rounds have been fairly close between FaZe Clan and Black Dragons, and they narrow out these positions because they have more guns up, for example, or they're just in better positions where FaZe Clan can't deny them. I thought the lack of info could have been a major issue for Black Dragons in the end of that round, Harrison, but it seemed like they had every defender accounted for despite only having 2 drones left up.
Maybe Live hacked the cams?
That would be a fair point.
He could have done that. Not quite sure, but another case of FaZe having the opportunity to win the round, but Black Dragons better in the gunfights. Shout out to Patoxy for winning that final duel with the pistol, no less. Now FaZe Clan, kind of in search mode. Lost the last 4 in a row, with Cyber being the opening death in all 4. In fact, Cyber's only 4 deaths have been those 4 ODs from rounds 5 through 8. He was deathless in the first 4, and now look at where FaZe Clan are at. I'm wondering if that's the win condition for BD. Killing the Soulless, FaZe Clan either hunt for the trade or extend out to try and reclaim the man advantage, and that's when Black Dragons strike. So Cyber has got to figure out how the hell he's going to stay up.
Yeah, although you can get away with a lot entering as Solus because of how much info you can use for yourself, the team aspect of having a Solus on the board towards the late round is just as valuable as winning that first gunfight. So I'd have to agree, maybe having Cyber be a little more passive, or having a teammate play around him so he can give that information to someone else and they can look for the entry fight while Cyber could try to trade or just, again, be there as a more supporting role. That could be a huge benefit for FaZe Clan. And so far, Black Dragons looks like they're going a little more towards the bottom floor, basement and first floor. Yeah, a little more of a bottom to top clear, like you talked about, funny enough, earlier in the broadcast, and not going for that top floor just yet, which is a little shocking because they have Stemp on buff. So this could be very tragic for them in the late round as wow. KDS from main. He gets both Ion and Live. Did they just not have any info? KDS was main stairs?
I presume so, but Cyber is still the first death, not in the round, but for FaZe. Luckily for FaZe, the trend so far has been whoever gets the opening kill wins the round. They got 2 of them thanks to KDS. So even though they lost Cyber, they're still in a pretty good position. We talked about Cyber being the win condition. Could also be Vita King, who has also only died in rounds that FaZe has lost. Now Black Dragons are fishing for a pick back. FaZe do still have the upstairs, but the verticality, I don't know how much that's going to come into play with what limited info the defense has. The cap can just... Handy just stands in a flashbang and dies. That was a bit odd, but he's still able to strike from the grave as Basetto gets downed by his traps. Now a 2 versus 3 with Patoxy very low. Vita King completely unaware of Patoxy's position, and the case has now been recovered. Verticality not working out for Souls, and now KDS is dead? Patoxy's on for a triple. Souls is left in a 1v2 and the plant is going down. Patoxy making the right way just yet. Here comes the swing, but he loses it. And the alibi flicks onto Stemp. Souls, the savior for FaZe Clan. Patoxy with 3 kills, nearly bringing things back. But FaZe Clan retake that 1-point lead.
And that aggression as well, swinging into the player who's by Tetris. Seemed like a good idea on paper, but not waiting for your planter to get off of it. Kind of allows that 1-for-1 isolation just enough for FaZe Clan to bounce back after trying to play to stop that plant. Almost backfired. And to think as well for Black Dragons, because they did so well in the late round with working those 1-for-1s and also recovering that diffuser, to think if KDS hadn't scored those free 1-for-1 gunfights on main stairs, that could have been an even smoother round for Black Dragons. All things considered, they've had a pretty good attacking half against FaZe Clan on Villa, which compared to Chalet is a bit surprising. That was still a close round despite, you know, being able to take 2 separate 1-for-1 gunfights and just kill the Buck as he gets off the plant.
Yeah, that lack of info by main stairs really biting Black Dragons towards the end there. If only they knew. Once again,
And
even though it was down to a clutch, opening pick still won the round.
And Harrison, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was the Solus as well who was by Library. Maybe Black Dragons has tunnel visioned way too much on Library.
Could be.
That would make a lot of sense. I'm like, all right, we don't want to throw any more drones at this guy. We know where he is. Let's just all push him together from like main. And yeah, that didn't work. So hopefully Black Dragons can be a little more on edge for their intel, which I'd say overall for Villa has been better, both on their defensive side and the attacking half. Besides, of course, round 9 where they were kind of walking in blind and even the Capcan traps caught him off guard. There's Handy with the opener. That trend could continue here for FaZe Clan with these opening engagements, especially since Basetto is your main utility operator. Those floors are Terror drones used to maybe break all of those Volk impacts and deployable shields. That's a non-factor now. I don't think he got a single Terror drone out.
Nope, I don't think so either, especially with only 1 pair of nades and Ion. That is huge for the defense. Also, happy that Cyber's no longer on Solus. Maybe he's not going to die as early. Because every single round that he played her, he died first. Now he's not. This is wow. All right. That was an odd angle. KDS also being relatively left alone on the other side of the map. He's got Cyber to assist. That's a mirror window. Facing into Astro. Haven't seen that
Waiting
one
for the
before.
creep up late round. The utility exposed in from that first floor. I'm really shocked that Black Dragons have been pretty silent. I think they were just going for a full commit of that bottom to top there, Harrison, like what FaZe Clan did at the beginning of this second map. And because they didn't have anyone to help clear out these power positions, it kind of backfired. Not only that, but they only had 1 set of grenades. And I don't even think that destroyed all too much utility. And only now, with 50 seconds left in a 4-on-4, only now are they trying to put pressure by Master. And
KDS wins the fight. So the Master pressure,
that's tough.
gone as fast as it appeared. And Cyber wins the fight through the Candela, leaving Stemp and Ion in a 2v4. Now a 1v4 for Stemp to stave off match point. Stemp gets 1 and 2. Looking for 2 more. Mirror windows, of course, in the defense's favor, but there's none placed by Study. He's able to completely deny Skull from that Ella. So KDS forced to walk up main. He's still going to walk up red, but he's held there. Mirror is essentially in a 1 versus 1. Now Stemp is, or sorry, now KDS is rotating 90, and Stemp, he doesn't know until it's far too late. FaZe Clan, round number 10, and with it, match point.
And you could see for that round, even FaZe was confused, like, where are Black Dragons pushing from? They haven't done anything on the top floor. They're cycling cams mid-round. And like, oh, there they are. Now they're finally pushed up into the building. KDS wins that 1-for-1. Cyber, while blinded, kills another looking down 90 hallway. So, again, with that lack of utility off the bat, I think Black Dragons just kind of struggled with finding a way not only into the building, but also a way to, you know, win gunfights effectively. And that kind of just, that shortened what options they had for trying to execute in that round. Sure, Stemp landed some nasty shots and made it a 1v2, but you've got mirror windows against you. There's info disregarding the mirror windows as well. And there's still someone playing, you know, a little bit off-site, but not too far away. Having someone, I believe it was what, KDS on the Ella, having someone be able to pivot from both landing in case you push into study and push down 90 hallway to deny the bar door access is really impactful when it's just a study execute with one player left alive. That gives your anchor a lot more room to breathe, and also it limits the options of Black Dragons coming back from that 1v4 turned 1v2.
Oh. Cyber's back
What,
on the
Cyber
Solus.
back on Solus?
Yeah.
I figured that's what you're gonna uh-oh about.
We'll see if his survivability increases. I do hope it does. Otherwise, Black Dragons, 2 rounds down from overtime. And of course, if we may remind everyone that this game is incredibly important because the loser can no longer auto-qual for the major. Same as NA. You haven't watched NA. Basically, these are the quarterfinals. You lose quarterfinals, you finish 5th and 6th. You play a game for 5th just for seeding, and you go to the LCQ. You still have more games to play. The 1st and 2nd place teams, they automatically go to Phase 2, or what we knew as the group stage for majors, as they've now added a play-in before that, and the 3rd place team automatically quals for Phase 1. So if you lose the following game after this, you still got a chance to make it into Phase 1. But if you lose here, you're going to LCQ. Black Dragons are 1 round away from that.
So far, not able to put down the law as well against this mirror window, right in the bomb side of statuary. Soul's even having more magnets at his disposal, and there's Cyber on the entry.
He's not opening death.
The Dokkaebi is gone. That is a huge kill for FaZe Clan. No more logic bombs to worry about, and you still have someone roaming underneath. You can see how agitated Black Dragons are now, as they have to clear out the entire map for a 2nd time.
Live, after having a hell of a performance on map 1, finishing 12 and 7 despite the loss, now taking a bit of a back seat. 2 and 10, and now Patoxy joins him with Cyber watching for this Iana. He whips the shots.
Uh-oh.
And he gets dusted by Stemp, who comes in to assist. That was a little unfortunate. Although FaZe Clan, of course, still have the man advantage. Vita King is top red, along with KDS prone on the stairwell, who's looking to maybe go underneath and flank, as Black Dragons start to storm up Astro. The only guy who's actually on site proper is Handy, and he's going to back off. So right now, the closest that FaZe have is in Boar, and they know about KDS. So FaZe have now forfeited both the site and the man advantage. Black Dragons looking to strike momentarily, as there are only 20 seconds left as of right now. Handy is the one holding on to this Astro rotate, and the plant is starting. Stemp swings on in and destroys Handy. The refrag finally comes in from Souls. The plant forced off, and now there's 7 seconds left as Vita King and Souls both look to come back to site. The Mira makes her way in, but now she's the last one left, and Black Dragons storm through the site. FaZe curiously completely giving it up.
And it's like we talked about earlier, Harrison, flanking when you have the man advantage. It's just not necessary when there is almost no one pushing in from Master side. And when you have Solus on the board, with those 2 factors being put in, it makes sense to give up the bomb site. But when you're flanking and when none of your defenders are staying over by Master to help deal with Astro, that's when it becomes a problem, especially for a trophy plant. The entire floor is destructible, and no one's playing below to stop a Solus. If you had Cyber alive in the late round, that's the round over. You got to have the rest of Black Dragons figure out, okay, how do we push from Astro all the way through there while stopping crossfires, and then pushing into Master, doing the same thing, and then getting in statue to plant while there's still people below. You honestly can, with that lack of time and resources. But with 2 people flanking below, dying, giving up the man advantage, and like you mentioned, giving up the bomb site with no denial properly established underneath anymore, that gives Black Dragons the opportunity to come back. And they did.
Very oddly played round from FaZe. Like, Cyber's death wasn't terrible. Like, he just whiffed. Whatever.
Yeah.
But giving up the whole bomb site with very little clear from BD either. Like, that was full 100% Astro. They could have easily held on to that. That was just... I don't know. Can't help but think that was the wrong decision. FaZe, still up 6-5. Not overtime just yet. Of course, unless Black Dragons win right here. And BD are swapping the Dokkaebi off, figuring, you know what? It's worked a couple times. It's not effective right now. They're going to bring out Jackal, who we have not seen at all this series.
Which is a little shocking to only see him now, with how effective a lot of the roam extensions have been from time to time, but finally it seems like Black Dragons, they want to hunt down Cyber, guarantee that he is not going to be a threat in this round, which I think is a great idea, a new adjustment for sure. There's Handy across that, Facetto gone. Can it be a second one for Handy? You better believe it. The Sledge gone too, and the entire western side, or the eastern side of the map, pardon, push for Black Dragons is just gone. But hey,
Cyber's
look,
dead.
from down below, Cyber is spotted at a bad time, and a poor rotate will put him in the dirt as well.
So Cyber on map 1, by the way, went 1-0 on entry. This map, he is 1-4. So, Cyber just can't catch a break.
No.
Of course, again, this round, not an opening death, but the first death on his team. I like the Brava going in, hacking some Banshees, which will give the attackers a little more info, as well as stopping any quick push up pantry. Shots going through the wall. Elysian swings off of it, and Vita King just dies, attempting to frag Ion, which, again, basically gives up site control. There's one guy left, and it's the 1 HP Handy, who's since come down Astro, though that 1 HP is not going to stop him from getting a kill. His third, in fact, on the Patoxy. Souls gets a follow-up, and now everything is crumbled for Black Dragons. Their hastiness to take advantage of that site control, doing them in. As Handy now looks for his 4th kill, he'll nab it. And off the 4K from Handy, FaZe Clan shut down BD. They send them to LCQ and keep the major hopes alive.
And unlike round 11, you had someone working vertical in case something goes wrong in the bomb site. You're not giving it up essentially for free. Because Handy was able to win those 2 gunfights against Facetto and Stem, you can comfortably play above by Master Bathroom Bedroom because no one else can man that front anymore. There's just not enough bodies to have someone rotate back in that position. So everyone else just